Guys, capture cards have been behind for over 3 years, and they're finally good again. AVerMedia just released 2 capture cards today. I knew this one was coming out. This is their HDMI 2.1 internal capture card. This one surprised me. Look at this little guy. Can you see this little, what is this? I had no idea this little dinky thing was coming out. But it's interesting. Until recently, there was no way to play PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X at 4K 120 and capture it at the same time. So let's go over these 2 new cards and then let's talk about which capture cards you need. And if that's all you came for, answering that question, I'll put a time code down below. You can skip the part on these 2 things, but I'm gonna talk about these 2 first. Hey guys, have you ever wanted to update your stream designs and then gone to owned.tv to see what they had in stock? Because if you weren't aware, they are your one-stop shop for all your stream overlay and alert needs. That line's like 4 years old now. It's getting good. It's aged like fine wine. But I was just looking at them today. I'm always looking at them. And I was admiring some of their more like flashy neon looking ones, like the series Skyla, which reminds me of those like 90s, early 2000s kid like Nickelodeon game shows that make me so happy. Neon Verdansk is a super cool like surfer neon sign looking one. And then I shouldn't have said surfer because then I was also looking at just the surfing one. Those last 2 are actually officially licensed Warzone ones, but all beautiful overlays. These guys have like hundreds of overlays. So if there's any part of you that's like, hey, I've wanted to update my designs and make my stream just look a little bit updated, a little bit flashier, go check out own.tv. They've got overlays, alerts, panels, banners, anything you need for your stream, it's there. And right now they're having a 65% sale for the new year. So new year, new you, new stream design, makes sense to me. Check them out, the link down below. So let's jump into this thick boy first. This is the LiveGamer 4K 2.1. This is their internal HDMI 2.1 capture card. Like if you're looking for the beefiest of the beefiest capture card on the entire market right now, this is the one. And it's super exciting because now they have internal HDMI 2.1 and external HDMI 2.1 that they released back in September, a couple months ago. It's been out for a bit. And so it's officially a good time to update your capture card if you've been needing to for a while. You've got anything you need. So what's new here? Well, technically, nothing. If you're comparing it to their HDMI 2.1 external capture card, these 2 things, as far as I can find, have the exact same specs, the exact same features. But let's list off those specs right here. In terms of capture, it can do 4K 60, 1440p, 120 frames per second, or you can capture at 1080p at 240 frames per second in case you need to capture some real buttery slow-mo stuff. And then in terms of pass-through specs, so what can actually go through the capture card and out into your TV or monitor, it can do 4K 144 Hz, it can pass through 1440p at 240 Hz, or it can pass through 1080p at 360 Hz. And the best part is all of those pass-throughs are both HDR and variable refresh rates. So if you're using some kind of adaptive sync, you're good. It even does ultra wide at 1440p. That's 3440 by 1440p at, what was it, 144 frames per second. So if you're an ultra wide gamer, again, either of these can do that just fine. So if you game on a PlayStation 5 or on an Xbox Series X and you've been looking to either record your gameplay or stream your gameplay, you're all set. You're good now. You have what you need. It's a good day. Well, how about this little dinky guy? What is this thing? It's so tiny. Like here, look at the difference this way, and then look at the difference this way. Are we in focus? Can you see that? This is literally just a tiny little PCB. I love it. Well, alongside their 2 newest cards that they're selling for $269. That's crazy. They're both the same price and the exact same features, which some people might be disappointed that the internal one's not a little bit beefier, but there's kind of a beautiful simplicity to like knowing that when you're choosing between the 2, all you're choosing is form factor. That if you want an internal or you want an external, you're not giving up features by doing that. And you know what? I can get behind that a little bit. But while these are both $269, this thing is $179. So they released a budget version, a new updated budget version that has some good specs that anyone who doesn't quite need something like this is going to be able to utilize. This little guy is called a Live Streamer Ultra HD, and it can capture in either 4K 30 or 1080p 120, so it can still do high frame rates. Its pass-through signal supports 4K 60, 1440p 144, and 1080p 240, all at HDR, all at variable refresh rates. And that's kind of a big deal, because a lot of people might look at this and say, well, just buy a previous generation capture card. Not a lot of previous generation capture cards support variable refresh rate. This one kind of gets those older specs at older prices, but with variable refresh rate, making this kind of a big deal. It even supports 1440p ultra wide, but instead of 144 Hz like the big boy capture card does, it does 100 Hz. I'm gonna be real with you, you're not missing a lot with this card. Unless you absolutely need HDMI 2.1 or you're gaming at 4K 120 Hz, this thing's pretty much got everything you need. But on to the big question. This is where, well, welcome all of you that clicked the timestamp down below. We're there, we made it. Based on what you do, which capture card do you need to look for? Let's start with PC gamers. You want to stream or record your gameplay for YouTube or Twitch content. Which capture card do you need? Well, if you're on a single PC system, you usually don't actually need a capture card because you can just do game capture or display capture. But if you're on a dual PC system and you put a capture card in your dedicated streaming or recording PC, do you need one of these new HDMI 2.1 capture cards? Not really. And the reason for that is typically dual PC streamers will split their video signal. They'll go directly out of DisplayPort from their GPU into their main monitor, and then they'll mirror that out of their HDMI port into the streaming PC. And so because you're not even using the pass-through, you're not using the out HDMI port on there, there's not really a ton of use there for you. And even more so due to the fact that even though this can ingest and pass through 4K 144, it can only capture 4K 60, similar to 4K capture cards before. There's always going to be some niche users that find something special this can do for 2PC setup that most people don't need. But if that's you and you find something I'm missing, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below. Oh, I totally forgot actually. We launched our new merch today. This is one of them. This is the Vitruvian Waifu. I'll put a link to our merch store. In fact, I'll link to our specific products in like the shelf below this video, but a lot of really cool designs, a lot of embroidered stuff, and then like a lot of sweatshirts, a lot of t-shirts, a lot of variety going on in there. And if you didn't know, members on this channel get $5 off anything they pick up. So if you plan on picking up more than one, save some money that way. Let's move on to the next group where this actually really matters for current generation console gamers. So PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and even Xbox Series S, kind of. These 4K 120 frames per second consoles that do variable refresh rates only have one HDMI output, which means if you're going to capture it, it has to go in a capture card, back out and into the TV, and this has to support everything. And until these cards came out, if they wanted to capture their gameplay, they had to sacrifice their actual gameplay quality. You don't have to anymore. So all you PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X gamers, enjoy. Rejoice, these are specifically for you. And as for the final group, people looking to capture either lesser powered consoles like the Switch or previous generation games, or they're trying to capture a camera, do not use one of these guys. You're gonna be throwing a lot of money down the drain. That's what capture cards like this are for, with maybe previous generation consoles. It's almost $100 cheaper. You can still capture 4K. You can still do high frame rate and variable refresh rate pass through, but you're just not getting 4K 120, which you're not gonna get out of your gear anyway. And if you're capturing a camera, there's even a lot cheaper stuff. Both AVerMedia and Elgato have little capture cards that don't even have pass through because a camera just goes straight into it. So I hope that answers all your question about current generation capture cards. I'm looking forward to another capture card release in like 2 weeks. The Elgato stuff they've been teasing for a while. I'll come back and compare these to the Elgato ones, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that video, and hit the like button if you're still watching, because you know it's free and it helps out the channel a lot. And if you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments down below. If you don't have any thoughts, just leave your favorite emoji for engagement. Also helps out the channel a lot. And as always, happy streaming, and go pick up a Vitruvian Waifu t-shirt. Peace.